Добрый день, уважаемые участники образовательного процесса, уважаемые ученики. Позвольте представиться, меня зовут Ольга Владимировна Тарасова. Я являюсь учителем английского языка школы номер 46 города Калининграда. И сегодня темой нашего урока будет развитие навыков чтения. То есть мы с вами будем говорить о том, какие стратегии нам необходимо использовать, чтобы быть успешным при выполнении заданий данного блока. За основу мы берем учебно-методическое пособие Spotlight. В частности, у нас будет охвачен модуль 4, тема которого является E-Waste, Why So Much Junk. Okay, so first of all, I think that we should understand what is a waste. And what should people do to avoid some problems that can be after using some technologies. To understand it better, so I just want to suggest to look at these all technologies, all devices that you can have at home, or that you own. Please try to write in the comments to answer some of the questions that you see on the right side of this slide. What device do you own? Try to think about that. You can type it or you can just say about it. Which have you replaced recently? So you can see that there are a lot of our devices that we can use in our usual life. So namely, you can see here laptop or just a cell phone that we can't imagine our life without. And most interesting question is, what did you do with the old ones? I mean, so when your gadget or when your device is out of date, or maybe it doesn't work properly, or maybe even it's broken down, what do you usually do with it? Try to think. Well, in some cases, people can just throw it away. And other people, they can collect it, to make a collection at home maybe, or present other people to use if they don't like this model or if they don't use it quite often as it used to be, so they can give it to other people. So there were a lot of research done, so how people behave themselves and what people do so when their devices don't work properly. And you can see that we have with you some numbers, some figures that showing electronic waste, that in most cases or the main share of all this electric waste is coming to the washing machine or dryer, air conditioning. So people replace these devices more often than others, The next is, it is refrigerator. You can see that it is a fifth part, 20%. And the same numbers of changes our electronic devices. It is about computers or printers, and you can see that it is players and audio, so 15% respectively. And the least number, it is television and monitor, just only 10%. So it is statistics that we can just use to see what devices were more popular to be replaced, and people just change them. In fact, we must understand what e-waste is, and to do it, I suggest you to watch this short video.
You probably have a collection like this, or maybe even a drawer, but have you ever wondered where all this stuff ends up? Well, that depends on how you get rid of it. In 2014, nearly 60% of old electronics were dumped into landfills. The other 40% was recycled, and 25% of that was then shipped to a developing nation. Electronic waste, or e-waste, is now the fastest growing source of toxic waste in the world. In 2016, 44.7 million tons of electronic waste was generated worldwide, or the equivalent of 4,500 Eiffel Towers. But e-waste isn't really junk. Last year, the UN estimated e-waste could contain more than $67 billion worth of precious metals. And while wealthy countries generate much of this waste, developing nations are often left with the task of recycling it. In China, workers dismantle illegally shipped computers, monitors, and printers, often without any safety equipment. In some countries, recyclers burn circuit boards or soak microchips in acid to extract gold, silver, and copper. Workers are often exposed to toxic metals like lead, mercury, cadmium, and beryllium. So what can you do? Here are a few suggestions. 1. Don't buy a new phone every year. 2. Use free online videos to help fix old computers, phones, and gadgets. 3. Use rechargeable devices. 4. Donate old devices to recycling centers with e-Steward certifications so you can be sure that your old devices are recycled in the United States. Let's make haste to end e-waste.
Well, according to this video, you can see that e-waste is electronic rubbish that can damage the environment if it's not dealt properly. So we can make this definition and you see that to avoid some toxic consequences or some negative consequences, I would tell, you see, we should use these devices properly, yes, to deal with them properly. Other case, you see that it looks like the rubbish, it's a big place of rubbish where all these devices are kept, you see, and worse of this, it damages our environment, you see. But you can see here the symbol of environmental just protection, I would tell that you can see the symbol of 3R, you see. What is exactly? We'll be talking about it a bit later. And we can find some necessary information about usage of this in our main task. So, e-waste, why so much junk? We come into our reading, you see reading section, and what aim we just object on. So first of all, we need to improve our receptive skill, because you know that reading as well as listening, it is our receptive skills. And of course, we need to know some strategies to complete reading tasks successfully. See, you know that reading consists of many tasks that can be presented in our learning of language. So first, that could be common, it is we have reading for specific information. The tasks, they could be just aimed when we don't read the text fully, we just find the interesting information. For example, it could be telephone number or just address or the name or proper nouns. You see, in other words, these techniques, it's called like as a scanning. So, and here we have with you some task like as a multiple choice. So it's one of the common tasks that could be given on when you do different reading tasks. The second one, it is reading for guests, or in other words, we call it like as a skimming, when we also look through the text just to understand the main idea, you see, or just the idea of each paragraph. So it's similar when we come to the shop and when we just look through the book, you see, in a bookshop. So the task for this, it could be headings and paragraphs. You know, when we need to match paragraphs with the headings that describe the key points of each paragraph in a good way. So another one, it is reading for detail. You see, when we read the text and try to understand and be close to the meaning of each word. For example, when we read important information or some messages or some documents, and here we have like as a task for gapped text, you see that we need to complete the gaps with necessary words, and we should be very accurate here. You see we need to remember some grammar rules to do this task. Yeah. You see another point for reading for details, it could be the task for true, false, or not stated task, and you also remember some of the strategies that can be helpful to complete the task, as well as deducing meaning from the context. Well, and another point of reading is extensive reading. When we read the text, quite long text, you see it could be some articles, it could be some novels. So, okay, so to understand it better, I suggest you to look at this text that are taken from our book, from Spotlight, you see, and you see that it's called like E-Waste and Why So Much Junk. So you can see that this text consists of 3 paragraphs. So, and in some cases we have some gaps which must be completed. Yeah. So on the right side of the slide, you can see the tasks that you should choose the best word from A to D for each gap. You can see that all these words, they could be like as synonyms, and sometimes we just get stuck. We don't know what should be chosen to put it, yes, to complete. That is why I want to suggest some strategy to complete. So first of all, you should pay attention to the combination of the words, because for example, when you look here, help or form or do, you should know the meaning of all these words firstly, and pay attention in what cases we must use these phrases, not to mix. We just need to remember it, you see, or even in some cases to learn by heart. Sometimes the similar meaning can be like as a make and do, but you remember that there is a difference in some collocations. So try to distinguish these words to be close in the meaning, you see. For example, if we look here, there is no doubt about it, electronic and electric goods, our lives much easier. So definitely we should remember that here we don't have a verb. Yes, it's missing after that because we have the structure of English sentence. So there is a subject, then there must be verb. Yes, that's why verbs are presented here, but which of them could be better to use, you see, and could be the best to be completed. You see that our lives much easier. You should read this sentence, so follow the second strategy. Try to understand the sentence and mentally substitute each of the proposed answer options in the blank in the order to determine the meaning of which word exactly is taken. Okay? So, what do you think? Our life much easier. Of course. So we can't say form, no, do, no, help. We choose make. Definitely, it must be make. Electric goods, it is plural, so no changes will be done. So by the way, in this task we don't need to remember about rules, because you can see just some of them already changed. If it is present simple, there is s at the end of them, you see. Okay, puts, releases, like this. If it is past simple, all the verbs, they are in past. So our task in this, our key point in this task is just to choose it and define the best meaning. So also you must be careful with phrasal verbs, because sometimes it's a problem when we are sure that, oh, there must be the verb, for example, look, but what exactly preposition is used in this phrasal verb, you see. Okay, be careful with this. And also I recommend to pre-write down, just to have the special, I don't know, maybe a copybook where you can write the phrasal verbs. You see, we have a collection, or synonyms, because synonyms is very important. And in some cases, when you use monolingual dictionaries, it's very important to define the synonyms, you see, to know exact meaning and the difference between them. So if we follow the second point, you see, that the second gap that must be completed, you see. Fortunately, there is a to pay for this. Definitely, it is a noun. Check that all of them noun. So, and what must pay? You say, oh, In the task, you see that the article, if we have just only a, so it was easy. It would be easy for us to see that they must be vowel or consonant, but in text we have both of these articles. That's why we need to just distinguish the words. You see, there is a to pay for this. So what could it be? Money. Do we need to, can we use money just when we say about our life easier? No. You see, price. Yes, why not? Expense, it's different one, and cost as well. So we choose here price to pay for this. And as technology advances at faster pace each year, appliances and gadgets quickly become outdated and people throw more of them. Throw, as I said before, that it's like as a phrasal verb, throw. Shouldn't forget that it will be out, yes, because of, down, no, it's not for that. So in this case, using this strategy, so we just need to be careful with this task. Another point that could be taken, and as I said before, it is match the paragraphs to the heading. You see, in most cases, one heading doesn't match. So we, because if we come back to our text, you see that there are 3 paragraphs. So what strategies I suggest to do this task? So first of all, you should read the headings and find keywords. So e-waste, what, where, and why. So you understand, yes, that we must find the idea like what, where, and why. These keywords could be as a special questions. And after that, we need to read the first sentence of each paragraph and find the topic sentence. So the first one, you can even, I don't know, just circle it or just to highlight the words. See, because it will be easy for you to remember. In this example, I just present only 4 headings and 3 paragraphs, but on your exam you can have more. You see, the second is e-viruses and recycling junk mail. So definitely that here we have like as a junk, it's like as a keywords, and recycling, yeah, it there. Next, chemical cows. You see that it is chemical, and recycling, the way forward. Forward, we can say that recycling and forward is both of them. So now what we need to do, we should read the first sentence of each paragraph and try to find the topic sentence. So, and another strategy that I suggest, it is again, you should remember about synonyms that must be taken into accounts. So therefore, all my students, I recommend to have as an extra a copybook, all of them, where we write the synonyms, and best of them is to organize thematic vocabulary with these similar words. So the next is don't stop reading even you find unknown words. So why I suggest here to read only the first sentence of each paragraph, because you know that usually key points is given in the beginning. And also, when you read, you can meet a lot of unknown words, but please don't stop reading even you find unknown words, because you can guess the meaning from the context. You see, because of course some words just it's impossible to remember. Yes, we are not native speakers, but even some of the words they could be really complicated. So you remember that the first was waste. What is it? When, where, and why? Here, the second it was about viruses and recycling. The third is chemical cows. Should see the difference between them. And the last is recycling, the way forward. So if you read the first sentence, there is no doubt about it. Electronic and electric goods, we said, make our lives much easier, but unfortunately there is a price to pay for this. So from this sentence, we should understand that goods make our life easier, but unfortunately if you don't get the meaning from the first, follow the second. Technology advances, pace of life, appliances become quickly outdated, and people throw more of them, you see. In this case, definitely, we answer the question, what? Electronic and electric goods, where? In our life, you see. So that's why we match it with the first paragraph, e-waste, what, where, and why. Did you answer? Yes. So the next, again, we keep in our mind that chemical cows, recycling the way forward, or e-viruses and recycling junk mail. So what is the big deal? Well, unfortunately, e-waste, and here we have which one holds, carries, contains, includes. So before you do this task, yes, so contains over 1,000 of chemicals, and definitely that, okay, synonyms, we can change it. You can face here like toxic, maybe, or just unhealthy in some cases. Oh, toxic, we have it. So that's why what heading could be? Definitely it is e-viruses and recycling. Do we have recycling here? No. Chemical cows. Yeah. So we say that chemical and toxins, it's about cows. So we have two headings left. It is e-viruses and recycling junk mail, and or recycling the way forward. So if we read the third paragraph, I mean exactly the first sentence, fortunately all is not, and here lost, you know, this phrase, all is not lost. Не все потеряно, да? Manufacturers are starting to recycling and reduce the number of toxics they use, and others. So definitely we have with you paragraph 4, heading 4, recycling the way forward, because we are talking about ways how we can reuse it, recycle, sorry, you see, reduce, reuse, and recycle. So as I said, that this is a symbol of 3 R's, you see. Just remember, this is the best way, yes. And in our video we could see it, in our text, if you read it just completely, you can see that there are given some ideas. Okay, so we just on our lesson, on this lesson, we talk about 2 kind of tasks that could be presented, and to remember the vocabulary, because you remember that any time when we read, when we do the written tasks, you see, we should remember some new phrases, and to understand it better, we have with you some points, like as when we need to match the words with their meaning. For example, in our text we could see the words, and usually they are given in bold. In my text it's not, you see, and I decided to write it in the slide, but all these words which are given with in red color, so they are taken from the text. So our task will be to match these phrases, from the up with the down, you see. For example, why is this important? Why is this important? Definitely we can match it with, try to find what's a big deal. The next, when we talk about little by little we come into blah blah blah, which of these words? We see that it's like an adverbial phrase. It must be gradually, even you don't know the word gradually what it means. So, but by looking at this phrase, we see that it is like it's a slow process, yes, step-by-step process. So the next, if we come, for example, if you don't know what components mean, so in Russian you have some association. In English you see that what synonym could be, it's like the parts. As I said, that synonyms, it's very important. It's the most important strategy to know more synonyms as possible for reading and even for listening, and in all aspects, in all sections of language. So if we say about donate, maybe you have some association. It's a verb. You need to find it. You see, you should find donate. It means if you're donor or if you donate something, you don't take money for that. That's why you find something similar, like as a free. In text you can see this word, but in the task it could be given the synonym donate. You see, and currently you don't know, you see, but from the context you see that in our time, you see, or at the moment, nowadays, in many cases, so we use with you this form. Okay, and the last one, for example, if we say harm, you remember harm, harmful from word formation, yes, so that is also very important. Yes, in language, harm, to do something like to make a damage, yeah, to damage someone, yes, to do something negative action. You see that can have bad consequences. Some points, you see, and as I said before, outdated. You see, you remember in the beginning of our lesson there was the phrase like, what do you do with your devices when you don't use them anymore, or when they're getting outdated? You see, the synonym could be like as old-fashioned. They are thrown away. See, it could be thrown away. You can also choose there, yes. Or toxic. Synonym of them is presented. See, poisonous and others, yeah. Okay, so thank you for your attention. If you have some questions or if you have some comments, you can write it, and with a great pleasure I will answer any interesting questions. Thank you, and see you next time.